In 2025, over 100 cases of ritual killings were reported across Africa. In my country, Sierra Leone, there's an underground trade that most people refuse to believe exists. A trade where human lives are bought and sold. Where children disappear from markets and their bodies are found mutilated in wells. Where men wear masks and skulls sit on shelves like merchandise. My name is Tyson Conte. I'm a journalist from Makeni, Sierra Leone. 4 years ago, I filmed the aftermath of a ritual killing in my hometown. The victim was an 1-year-old boy named Papayo. He was my neighbor's son. Papayo left home to sell fish at the market. 14 days later, his mutilated body was found dumped in a well. His organs were missing. His eyes were gone. One arm had been severed. His killers were never found. And Papayo wasn't the first victim. He won't be the last. What you're about to see is the result of a year-long undercover investigation. We infiltrated a network of so-called juju practitioners who claim they can supply human body parts on demand. We recorded conversations with men who boast about killing for profit. We followed police raids into secret shrines where skulls are displayed like trophies. But this investigation became personal, because while we were hunting these killers, they struck close to home. Makeni is Sierra Leone's 5th largest city, home to over 130,000 people. It's a place where poverty runs deep and tradition runs deeper, where 80% of the population depends on traditional medicine and herbalists for healthcare. Saleh Calico lives in Makeni. She's a mother, or rather, she was, because 4 years ago, her 1-year-old son Papayo left their home and never came back. The day Papayo disappeared, it was just supposed to be another ordinary day. He was out in town at 7 a.m., trying to support his family by selling fish at the local market. He was a good boy, responsible, the kind of child who helped his mother without being asked. But Papayo never made it home that evening. Days turned into weeks. Saleh searched everywhere. She went to the police. She asked neighbors. She prayed. 14 days after he vanished, Papayo's body was discovered at the bottom of a well. What the police found wasn't just a murdered child. It was something far more sinister. Papayo's body had been mutilated. His vital organs were missing. His eyes had been removed. One of his arms had been severed from his body. The police didn't call it a ritual killing in their official report, but everyone in Makeni knew what it was. In Sierra Leone, there's a belief system that runs through the country like an invisible current. It's called juju, a form of traditional magic that predates colonial rule. Most juju practices are harmless, healing herbs, protective charms, spiritual guidance. But there's a darker side. A belief that human body parts can be used in rituals that bring wealth, power, and prosperity. And where there's belief, there are men willing to profit from it. For Saleh Calico, the years since Papayo's murder have been an endless nightmare. No arrests were made. No suspects were identified. Her son's killers walk free in the same streets where he was taken. I knew I had to do something. I couldn't let Papayo's death, or the deaths of countless others, disappear into silence. So, I decided to go undercover. Through confidential sources, I made contact with a man who claims to be a herbalist operating in the Cambia district near Sierra Leone's border with Guinea. He told me he could supply human body parts for magic rituals. He agreed to meet. I teamed up with an undercover investigator. For his safety, we'll call him Man. We had no idea what we were walking into. The man we were about to meet could be a scammer, or he could be something far worse. Our cover story was simple. Man would pose as a politician preparing to run for high office. He needed help from traditional rituals to guarantee his success. In Sierra Leone, there are widespread rumors that politicians use human body parts in rituals during election season. We wanted to see if these rumors were true. After hours of driving through increasingly remote areas, we arrived at the location, a shrine hidden deep in the bush, away from prying eyes. I stayed back with my team, parked nearby, ready to respond if things went wrong. The herbalist who greeted Man was wearing a mask. That should have been our first warning, but Man pressed forward with the meeting. The herbalist's name was Kanu, and he was eager to talk business. Kanu claimed to have powerful political connections. He said he'd helped high-ranking government officials and wealthy businessmen. He bragged about his network, about his reputation, about the results he could deliver. Then Man asked the question we needed answered. What would it take to guarantee political success? Kanu's answer was chilling. He said he could provide a woman's right hand and right foot, body parts that, according to Juju belief, would bring power and influence. We had no way of knowing if Kanu was serious or if this was an elaborate scam, but alarm bells were ringing. Man arranged a second meeting. We needed more evidence. A few days later, Man returned to Kanu's shrine. This time, Kanu wanted to prove he wasn't bluffing. Kanu showed Man a human skull. He said it belonged to a woman. He said he had dried it for a client who was supposed to collect it soon. "You see this," Kanu said. "It belonged to someone. I dried it for them. It's a woman's skull. I expect the person to collect this today or tomorrow." Then Kanu took Man to a secret area behind his shrine. He pointed to a pit in the ground. "This is where we hang human parts," Kanu explained. "We perform sacrifices here, and the blood drains down there. Even high-ranking chiefs come here when they seek power. I provide them with what they desire." Kanu quoted prices for different body parts, for different ages and genders. 70 million leones for a mature woman. The specific amounts didn't matter. What mattered was that he was treating human beings like merchandise. Man told Kanu he needed time to raise the funds. He left the shrine. The money, of course, would never come. We had gathered enough evidence. Without following through on the deal, we couldn't prove Kanu actually killed anyone. But we weren't taking chances. After our final meeting with Kanu, we handed all our evidence to the Sierra Leone police. To this day, no action has been taken against Kanu. 2 days into our investigation, I received news that shattered me. One of my own cousins had been found dead on the side of the road. Her name was Fatmata. She was 28 years old, a hairdresser, a mother of 2 young children, and now she was gone. I couldn't believe this was happening. I was investigating ritual killings, exposing the people behind them, and now my own family was touched by this horror. I went to the location where Fatmata's body was discovered. My relative Estimate was there. He lived near the woods and led me to the exact spot. "They didn't even hide her," Estimate told me. "They didn't even put her in the bush or throw her in a well. They just left her on the side of the road for anyone to find." A night watchman named Francis Kamara had discovered Fatmata's body at 6:30 inches the morning. By the time I arrived, videos were already circulating on social media. Rumors were spreading through the community like wildfire. People were saying Fatmata was a victim of ritual killers, and she wasn't the first. Estimate told me there had been 3 cases on this same stretch of road. 3 people killed in ways that suggested ritual murder. The day before she disappeared, Fatmata had posted a video on TikTok. It was her 28th birthday. She was smiling, laughing, celebrating with friends. She had no idea that within 24 hours, she would be dead. Back at my family's home, we waited for the autopsy results. Fatmata's mother, Mariam, was one of the first people to identify her daughter's body at the hospital. What she saw there convinced her that this was no ordinary murder. Fatmata's grandmother was devastated. The loss was incomprehensible. How do you explain to a grandmother that her granddaughter was murdered, mutilated, and left on the side of the road like garbage? 5 months later, the police investigation has provided no answers. No arrests have been made. Fatmata's killers, like Papayo's killers, walk free. My sources identified another man, rumored to be involved in selling body parts. He was based in Waterloo, a notorious slum on the outskirts of Freetown, Sierra Leone's capital. This man called himself Idara. And unlike Kanu, who was cautious and calculating, Idara was reckless. After meeting one of our investigators, he sent a video too gruesome to show. He claimed the video showed him decapitating a human corpse. We sent in our undercover investigator Osman. Same cover story, politician needing help with rituals for electoral success. But Idara's response was different from Kanu's. According to Idara, he could get access to 25 herbalists within his network at any time. If one couldn't deliver, another would step in. It was organized, systematic, a business model built on murder. During the second meeting, Idara introduced Osman to others in his network, men who sat in back rooms and spoke in coded language, men who made it clear they understood exactly what kind of merchandise was being discussed. Then Idara played Osman, a voice message he claimed to have received from a member of his network. The message was chilling. It discussed potential targets and availability. Idara was telling Osman that his network had already begun searching for potential victims. Osman left the meeting, telling Idara not to do anything until he contacted him again. But then something happened that changed everything. Idara called Osman. He said his people had already identified a victim. They were preparing to act. Someone's life was in danger. This wasn't a scam anymore. This was real. I immediately contacted Police Commissioner Ibrahim Salmon, who heads Sierra Leone's Operations Support Division. I told him everything. I provided all our evidence. Someone needed to be stopped before another innocent person died. The police partnered with Dr. Sheku Tarawali, president of Sierra Leone's Council of Traditional Healers. Dr. Tarawali has spent years trying to separate legitimate traditional medicine from the rogue herbalists who practice ritual killings. We don't want bad people in our society, Dr. Tarawali told me. That's why we cooperate with the police to bring all those bad herbalists to justice. The police assembled a tactical team. They prepared to raid Idara's shrine. But first, they needed one more piece of information. Osman was sent back in one final time. The goal was to gather information about other members of Idara's network before the raid. As the police convoy headed deep into Waterloo, I rode along. This was the culmination of months of undercover work. If Idara was telling the truth, we were about to stop active murderers. Inside Idara's house, Osman was still meeting with the network members. In the back room, someone reminded Osman that they meant business. They weren't playing games. They had product. They had customers. And they had victims lined up. Before the raid, Dr. Tarawali performed protective rituals on the police officers. Even the police believe in juju. Even they fear the power these herbalists might possess. Assistant Superintendent Ali Jallo explained it to me. We are police officers, but we are also Africans. We know what juju means. We cannot just enter the shrine of a dangerous witch doctor without protection. So we work with traditional healers. They fortify us. For our own safety. The road ran out. The police had to continue on foot. They approached Idara's compound quietly, surrounding the building. Inside the house, Idara and his associates heard the commotion outside. Idara panicked. He bolted toward the roof, trying to escape. But as Idara fled, another man suddenly appeared from inside the house. The police identified him as the chairman, someone Idara had mentioned as a leader in the network. Commissioner Salmon questioned the chairman immediately, suspecting he was part of Idara's gang. Inside the house, police found another potential gang member, and they found a shrine. But Idara was still missing. The search became frantic. Police combed through every room, every hiding space. Then, suddenly, a noise came from the ceiling. Idara was in the roof space. He'd been hiding there the entire time, armed with a knife. Police pulled Idara down from the ceiling. He was now identified and apprehended. The search for evidence began in earnest. Dr. Tarawali moved through the shrine, examining items. He found human bones, human hair, what appeared to be soil from cemeteries. These items, Dr. Tarawali explained, are used in dark rituals. This is not traditional medicine. This is murder for profit. Dr. Tarawali found items that particularly worried him: a cat head, a dog head, mixed with human remains. The combination suggested specific types of rituals designed to bring wealth and power. The search moved outside. Police dug through the compound grounds, looking for more evidence, for burial sites, for proof of how many victims this network had claimed. Eventually, the police had seen enough. Idara was detained and led away. He would later be charged under Sierra Leone's anti-witchcraft laws with practicing sorcery and possessing traditional weapons used in ritual killings. 2 other suspected members of Idara's network were also detained and charged. They have all pleaded not guilty and been granted bail while investigations continue. But the question remained: how many victims had already died at the hands of this network? How many families were living with the same pain as Papayo's mother? As my own family? With Idara under arrest and his network disrupted, I turned my attention back to my family. Today was the day we buried my cousin Fatmata. She was popular in our community. Many came to pay their respects. Her colleagues from the hair salon, her friends, her relatives, all of us trying to make sense of senseless violence. She was not a harmful lady, one mourner told me. Very peaceful lady. Very active. But now, she's gone. Following Muslim tradition, Fatmata's body was washed, shrouded, and laid to rest facing Mecca. Her grave was placed behind the mosque that had played an important part in her life. This was the last moment for my relative. She'd been laid to rest. But there was no closure, no arrests, no justice. It's not just a loss for us as family members. It's a loss for all these women who knew her. A loss for the entire community. Fatmata's mother, Mariam, would never recover from the loss. Just 4 months after her daughter's murder, Mariam herself passed away. Some say she died of a broken heart. The reality is brutal. Sierra Leone has only one pathologist for a population of 8.9 million people. The country's forensic capacity is virtually non-existent. Even when cases are reported, investigations rarely lead anywhere. Researchers estimate that approximately 90% of perpetrators of ritual killings are never apprehended. Many cases are misclassified as accidents or natural deaths, simply because there aren't resources to investigate properly. There's no specific law against ritual killings in Sierra Leone. When perpetrators are caught, which is rare, they're charged with murder, or in some cases, practicing sorcery. But convictions are even rarer. Papio's mother, Saleh Kaloko, still waits for justice 4 years after her son's murder. No one has been arrested, no one has been charged, no one has been held accountable. I'm in pain, Saleh told me. They killed my child and now there is just silence. The problem isn't limited to Sierra Leone. Ritual killings have been reported across Africa, in Nigeria, Uganda, Malawi, Kenya, and beyond. In many cases, the victims are the most vulnerable: children, people with disabilities, albinos, and women. They're targeted because they're easy prey, because they're less likely to be protected, because their disappearances are less likely to be investigated. According to the World Health Organization, 80% of Africans depend on traditional medicine for their healthcare. This isn't inherently problematic. Traditional medicine has existed for centuries and serves millions of people who lack access to Western medical care. The issue is that rogue herbalists have exploited this cultural practice. They've taken something that should heal and turned it into something that kills. Dr. Sheku Tarawali explained it to me. One single bad herbalist can destroy the reputation of thousands of good herbalists. We are healers, we are not killers. But one rotten fish can destroy the entire catch. Sierra Leone has over 45,000 traditional healers, compared to less than 6,000 practitioners of Western medicine. They're the backbone of the healthcare system. But the actions of criminals have made all traditional healers suspect in the eyes of many Sierra Leoneans. The rumors about politicians and powerful businessmen being involved in ritual killings persist. Kanu claimed that high-ranking chiefs came to his shrine seeking power. Idara boasted about his political connections. During election periods, there's a noticeable spike in disappearances and ritual killing reports. Parents are warned to keep their children close. Communities live in fear. But proving elite involvement is nearly impossible. The perpetrators who get caught are usually the low-level operators, the herbalists who do the actual killing. The wealthy clients who order the body parts remain hidden behind layers of plausible deniability. Even the police acknowledge the challenges they face. As Superintendent Jallo told me, many officers believe in juju themselves. They fear entering shrines. They fear retaliation from powerful forces they don't understand. I am an African, Jallo said. I know juju exists, so I believe it, and I have to be careful. I will not provoke situations where there are powers beyond my knowledge. This creates a vicious cycle. Belief in juju makes people vulnerable to exploitation. Fear of juju makes investigation difficult. Lack of investigation allows the practice to continue, and the cycle repeats. In the weeks following the raids, I tried to confront Kanu about the ritual killing allegations. He never answered my calls. He remains unreachable. Idara and 2 members of his network remain out on bail. Their trial continues. But given Sierra Leone's conviction rate for these crimes, the outcome is uncertain. The fact that we were able to infiltrate 2 notorious rogue herbalists and gather damning evidence tells me something important. These networks exist. They operate openly enough that undercover journalists can find them, which means law enforcement should be able to find them too. But they don't, or they can't, or they won't. We still have no reliable statistics on how big the problem of ritual killings really is in Sierra Leone or across Africa. There are no government tracking systems, no centralized databases, No systematic investigation protocols. With only one pathologist, for nearly 9 million people, proper forensic investigation is virtually impossible. Bodies are buried before thorough examinations can be conducted. Evidence is lost. Cases go cold. How many of those graves contain victims of ritual killings? How many families are living with unanswered questions? How many killers walk free among us? When I filmed the aftermath of Papayo's murder 4 years ago, I had no idea I would eventually lose my own cousin to similar violence. I had no idea how personal this investigation would become. But that's the reality for everyone in Sierra Leone. This isn't a distant problem. It's not something that happens to other people. It touches every community. Every family lives with the fear. These killings spread fear and terror in our communities. They tear apart families. They destroy lives, not just the lives of the victims, but the lives of everyone left behind. More attention needs to be paid by the authorities to stamp out this barbaric practice. More resources, more political will, more justice. Failing to do so can only mean more tragedy. More mothers like Saleh Kaloko waiting for justice that never comes. More families like mine burying loved ones taken too soon. Sierra Leone has suffered enough. Africa has suffered enough. It's time for this to end. Idara and 2 associates were charged with practicing sorcery and possessing traditional weapons used in ritual killings. They pleaded not guilty and were released on bail pending trial. No action has been taken against Kanu. Papayo's murder remains unsolved. No arrests have been made. Fatmata's murder remains unsolved. No arrests have been made. Fatmata's mother, Mariam, died 4 months after her daughter's killing. Sierra Leone continues to have only one pathologist for 8.9 million people.